Okay, guys, good morning. So, in the last class, we have discussed about Agile Scrum methodology. So, today we are going to discuss about black box testing techniques. Okay, black box testing techniques. So in the interview, people will ask a question: what are the different testing techniques that you will use to identify the test cases? Suppose I had given a requirement, and for that requirement, how many number of test cases that you can able to identify? They will ask. So let me go through. There are mainly 5 types of testing techniques are there. One is boundary value analysis, and another one is equivalence class partitioning, decision table based testing, and state model diagram, and error guessing. So these are the 5 testing techniques are useful to identify the test cases. Okay, so let's understand what is boundary value analysis. Okay, so let me open my notepad. So the loan advisor can approve loan amount within a range of 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs. 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs. So this is the requirement. So for this requirement, how many number of test cases that you can able to write it? So there is a requirement BR001. Okay. So for this requirement, you have to write the number of test cases. Okay. So can anybody tell me what are the test cases that we can write on this requirement? Anyone generally? So I want to test this requirement. So for this single line, okay, how many test cases that I can test it? Got the point? My question is, everyone clear, online people? Hope everyone is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, can anybody tell me one of the test cases? EC001. Yes. Verify approval limit. When loan amount is what I need to read. So for a particular customer, he is coming and he is inquiring and he is asked this much of amount. So the loan advisor, he has to sanction that amount. So how much amount I have to test this functionality now? So as per the requirement, it has to satisfy if the 2 lakhs. So I have to test this function. And what else I need to test? Verify the approval limit when loan amount is 5 lakhs also. Okay. Next, what else I can write? Beyond 5 lakhs. Correct? Beyond 5 lakhs. If it is beyond 5 lakhs, system should allow or not? It should not allow. So we have to test the functionality. Otherwise, if application go into production, it is an issue. As a tester, you have to think negative also. Okay. What else I need to do? Less than? Oh, good. So if the loan amount is less than 2 lakhs. Is less than 2 lakhs. Okay. What else? What else I can do? My question is clear, right, everyone? So verify the approval limit. So in this case also, you should not allow system. In this case also, the system should not allow to accept. And if it is 1,99,999, so the system needs to allow or not? It should not allow. Okay, right. And 4,99,009. So this should allow or no? It has to allow.
Allows.
So in this one, what is the minimum limit? 2 lakhs. And maximum limit? Maximum limit is 5 lakhs. Right. So minimum limit is 2 lakhs and maximum. And we have to test other combinations as max plus 1, max minus 1, min plus 1, min minus 1. If you test these 6 combinations, so all the boundary conditions you had perfectly tested. That is the min. Okay. Because generally developers while writing boundary conditions, they might forget amount limit less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So then if they will forget equal to or less than or something, okay, the range, it might, the range it is not properly developed by developer. So whenever boundaries are specifying in a requirement, you have to ensure first you have to test it for min and maximum. Min plus 1 and min minus 1, max plus 1 and max minus 1. So here max plus 1 means how much amount? 5 lakhs 1. So if 5 lakhs 1 is not accepted, means other than any value, it's not accepting. So we can ensure. And max minus 1, it has to allow. So we covered 4,99,999. So it's covered. And min plus 1. So min plus 1 means 2 lakh 1. Right. And min minus 1. 1,9. So have we covered? So min max already covered here. And when it is beyond means 5 lakhs 1, this is covered. And when the loan amount is less than 2 lakhs, so that means 1,999 it has been covered. So this one is covered. And beyond means this is covered. Okay. And what else we have to test is less than. 1 second. When the verify approval limit is when the loan amount is. So you can directly specify when the loan amount is 2 lakhs. Okay. So verify the approval limit when the loan amount is. What else combinations we have tested? 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs done. 5 lakhs 1. Oh, when the loan amount is 4,999. Got the point? So these 6 combination of the test cases you have to test. These we can call it as the boundary conditions. If a requirement is specifying with boundary range limit, you have to use a technique called boundary value analysis. Min, max, max plus 1, max minus 1, min plus 1, min plus 1. Okay. So these 6 conditions, if you are tested, that means all the boundary conditions, it had been tested perfectly by the tester. Okay. So see, if you don't know this technique, hardly you can write 1 test case or 2 test cases. But if you know this technique, you can write minimum 6 test cases, 100% all the boundary range will be tested by tester. That's what I means. Okay. So let's go to the, whenever interviews, what is boundary value analysis means you have to test the definition like this. Generally developers will do mistakes at boundary conditions. So we can check boundary conditions by writing combinations like min, max, max plus 1, max minus 1, min plus 1 and min minus 1. Okay. So in a requirement, if the test requirement document is talking about range, okay. So you have to test all these 6 combinations. Suppose if there is a voting application, so it has to allow minimum 18 years and not voting application. Suppose, so this kind of range is values. Hope this example is clear to you. Okay. Now let's go to the another one. Next one is equivalence class partitioning. Identifying the valid and invalid test data combinations for a given requirement so that we can able to test all happy paths and negative test scenarios. So now let's go to a requirement. Now let me give you one requirement. So in our application, job title, job note, and job description, and we are clicking on save button, correct? So the job description, job note. So in the requirement document, it is like this. We are 00. The job note should allow. Job note should allow. Should allow only alphabets and range of text should allow minimum, okay, minimum 20 characters to 120 characters. So job note should allow only alphabets, okay, and a range of text should range of text description should allow minimum 20 to 120 characters. So this is the requirement. Okay, if a requirement is talking about alphabets and range of values, okay, then you have to apply equivalence class partition. If a requirement is talking only about boundary conditions, you have to use boundary value analysis. So in this text field, it is a combination of text fields and it is also talking about range. So first let me classify so if the requirement is like this, so first you need to identify what is the valid ranges and invalid ranges. So what is the valid range here? Valid range 20 to 120. 20 to 120. And invalid range means according to this. What is the invalid range? So 0 to 19 is invalid range. So 0 to 19. It is an invalid range. And what else invalid range we can say? 121 to greater than 121. Greater than or equal to 121. So this is an invalid range. So if it is 121 or greater than or equal to 121, it's an invalid range. Okay, what is the valid alphabets? So capital A to Z and small a to Z. Alphabets are allowed. And what are invalid combinations we can tell? Special characters. Okay. Symbols. Special characters, symbols. Okay. Or special characters is one classification. And symbols also, it is also one classification. This should not allow. Okay. So for a given requirement, you have to identify what are the valid partitions and what are the invalid partitions. Okay, so this is one test case, and this is one test case, and this is another test case, and this is fourth test case. So if it is 2C01, verify job description allows 20 to 120 range. So beyond that, you have to enter some value. You can give 20 or 120 or 15 or anything, 25 or anything. So the system should allow that. So valid range, if you are giving any of the value, you have to test whether valid range is perfectly working or not. And second point, TC02, verify job description should not allow if range is 0 to 19. Correct? Okay, right. So second range, so this is covered, and I have to test it for third one as well. Okay, next one. Verify job description should not allow. Okay. Should not allow if range is 121 or greater than 121. Okay. So this is covered and this is covered and this one is covered, and we have to test it for this one as well. Verify job description should allow only alphabets. Alphabets. So during this one, you will enter alphabets only, whether capital agent and small agent, textual information you are entering, and system should allow. And what is the last classification? Special character. Verify job description should not allow. Should not allow if it is special characters. Okay, got the point? So these are the 5 test cases. So for a given requirement, okay, for a given requirement, you identified valid partitions, okay, valid partitions and invalid partitions. Okay. So, and for every partition, you have to write the test cases. So this is known as equivalence class partitioning. Equivalence. Within that range of values, the system should allow accept. So let's go to the documentation. See.
Sir, what about that capital and small one?
Okay, guys, 1 second. Suddenly you are asking. Tell me.
Sir, what about that capital and small letter?
Capital and see A to Z or A to Z. This it has a valid input. So I had covered already. Allow only alphabets means for this range only I had mentioned. Alphabets means capital A to Z to small a to Z. So with this combination, it has to allow. Okay, right. Yes. So this one we are calling as a equivalence class partitioning. So whenever a requirement is talking about alphabets and range of values, you can go with equivalence class partition. If the requirement is only talking about a range, better to go with boundary value analysis. Okay, right. Now let's go to the next testing technique. State model, no, not this one, decision table based testing. Decision table based testing. Let's go to this one. Decision table based testing. So let me give the requirement BR001. So it is also called as a cause effect table. We can also call it as a cause effect table. This software testing is used for functions which respond to combination of inputs or events. For example, a submit button should enable if user has entered all the required fields. What is the requirement? A submit button is enabled if user enters all the input fields. So there is a input field name, email, and message. What are the field? Name, email, and message. Name, email, and message. Once you enter all this input data, submit button is enabled. So this is the requirement. Submit button is enabled if you enter name, email, and message. So once you enter all these 3 combinations only, submit button is enabled. This is the requirement. Tell me what are the test cases that I can write? First one. So when I enter name, email, message, submit button is enabled. Okay, the first test case I had written. Okay, what is the second test case I have to test? In anybody? Second test case. Negative also you have to think. So you haven't entered name or email or message. How system should supposed to work? Submit should not enable. Submit should not enable. But the requirement is given only, this is the only rule. But we have tested this functionality as well, because submit button is enabled only all these three enters. So now let's go to the part. So when three fields are not entered, so false, false, false. So the submit button is disabled. So that is the end output. And I entered a name, but I haven't entered email and message combination. So the submit button, it has to be disabled. So this is the rule 2. And rule 3, I haven't entered a name, but I entered email, but I haven't entered message. So it should not be enabled. So these two got entered and false. So it has to be entered, all three are entered. So this is, so how many test cases are identified here? This is 1, this is 2nd, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 3 fields. So for these 3 fields, we have written total how many test cases? Under rule 1, we have written 1 test case. Under rule 8, we have written 1 more test case. Under rule 2, we have to write 1 more test case. So whichever is allowing, also we have to write. How the system should not supposed to work, also we have to write the test cases. So particularly decision table based testing technique will be used on the form fields validation. So whenever you are entering contact form, all these ones all are entered, then only it has to be enabled. So in that combination of this thing, okay, we will use testing technique called decision table based testing. We can also call it as a cause effect table. So if you go for an interview, they will ask this kind of question. Okay, so can you please write me some test cases on username and password? They will ask you. Username. So now you understood, everyone understood, right? So similarly, we have written total TC 8 test cases, TC 08 test cases. So now there is a login page, username and password with correct credentials only navigated to login page, home page. This is my requirement. Okay, so BR05 with valid username and password should be navigated to home page. This is the requirement. Now the interviewer is asking, can you please tell me some some test cases for this login page? So tell me what. So here what technique we have to use? Decision table based testing. So tell me the first test case. Valid username and password, and valid password, and click on login button. So first test case. Now what else we can test? Invalid username and valid password. System should not allow. Okay, what is the third test case? Valid username and invalid password. Okay, third test case is done. And fourth one? Both are invalid. Both are invalid username and invalid password. System should not allow. So how many test cases we have written? So these are the 4 test cases we have written, correct? But if you go for the interviews on login page, the interview is expecting other than what else combinations you can test it. Because everybody will tell these 4 things. What else you can test it? They will ask. Got it? Now you have to. I had given my bank login application to you. As a tester, you have to test this function. Sir, already I tested all 4 combinations. What else left?
Username should not allow.
Username should not allow.
Special characters.
But that is not mentioned in my doc.
Whether login button is working or
Special characters.
login button
invalid
is
password.
working.
Tell me, yes. Yeah, tell me.
Invalid password, sir.
Invalid password combination we already tested.
Username should have only alphabets and
If lowercase and uppercase letters.
Lowercase and uppercase means lowercase, uppercase. The valid username, invalid password. Again, telling same point only.
Login button is working.
Login button.
Working fine or no?
In which case?
Like
Login button
click,
enabled.
click.
Login button
when
enabled.
we clicking the
All
login.
the 4 test cases, we click login button. So tell some new test case combination.
ఏమి ప్రెస్ చేయకుండా సబ్మిట్ చేయడం.
Yes, exactly. I want that answer. Okay. So you haven't entered any of the username and password combination and just clicking on login button. If system is allowing to home page navigation, it's an issue or not? Sir, I haven't tested that combination. If you are telling like that, okay, so they will catch you. They will call you in a conference room and they will give you left right. So you as a tester, you have to test that combination as very good. So you haven't entered you haven't entered any of the username and password. Still you clicked on login. It should not navigate to home page. Yes, what else combination? Everybody will tell these 4 combinations: valid username, valid password, invalid username, invalid password. So the interviewer got already tied with these 4 combinations. He wants more combinations. So now she told me 1 combination. What else?
Username and default password.
Okay. Without entering password, you click only you entered username and should not allow to home page. Okay. You haven't entered username and should not allow to home page. Okay, that's also done. And what else? Because login page is mandatory question they will ask you in midterms. Got the point? They will ask you by default. Can you please write some login page test cases? So everybody will tell valid username and valid password should not allow, invalid username, invalid password should not allow, valid username, invalid password should not allow, invalid username and valid password should not allow. These 4 combinations, 100 people will tell these 4 combinations. Okay, extra point she told just now. Without entering username and password, just click on login. So that is new combination. What else we can do? Got the point? So you won't get thoughts randomly during that time. Okay, now let's go to what are the combinations that we can use. So 1, 2, 3, 4. When test a happy path, valid username and invalid password, and valid username and invalid password, invalid username and valid password, and invalid username and invalid password. These 4 got checked. Without entering username and password, just now she told. Should not directly redirect to home place. Okay. Ensure credentials not saved at client side so that we can ensure security, especially in banking applications. So if you logged in a Gmail, please, somebody came again. When you open Gmail, if it is already logged in, it's an issue or not? It's an issue. Okay, login details should not save on browser specific. So you have to test that function. So I will also test credentials are not saved at client side, at browser side. Okay, because sometimes if you don't do logout, it will. So the moment when you close the session, it has to log out automatically, banking applications. Okay, you have to test it. Or if you don't touch the screen for 5 or 10 minutes, the session will be logged out as. Okay, you have to test those functionalities. How can you ensure after 10 minutes some random user came to internet cave and he's clicking on that banking account? The system has been prompted, it's prompted to logged out automatically. It's prompting to login page again. Okay, in case if you got missed also, as per banking applications, when you clicking on transfer or funds transfer, some guy is using you, trying to use your account because last 5 minutes it was not touched by the user. So you have to test that functionality as well. Okay, let's go. We can
But it is- Hello. But sir, it is varies with site to site, right? Because suppose it's only banking, then we have to test it. Suppose it's a mail kind of a thing, then we don't have to test it, right? Because it's a mail.
No. If it is login page, you have to make sure the default functionality of the login page is it should not, is it saving or not? Credentials are saving or not by default on the browser side. That is the common thinking.
But in mail, mail kind of a thing, sir, it's giving na that in Gmail also we can save it, right? Without typing second time. So for mail, we can give it as a, you can save the user ID and password.
If the requirement, see, my point is I want to check whether credentials are saving on the browser side or not, because it's a login page. If it is saving as per the requirement, let's go it. If it should not allow, so I have to test it as a tester. That's my common thing. Okay. Sometimes the brief elaboration, it was not mentioned on the requirement, but these kind of things you need to ask with the client. Okay. So that is the general thinking and experience is required to the test. So now let's come back to the next slide. So we can check credentials are not saved at client side so that we can ensure security. Okay. We can also check password encrypted format or not. While typing your password, is it display visible to everyone or not? So you have to make sure whether it is correctly or navigating to home page is also along with that you have to make sure the password is typing in an encrypted format. We also have to make sure username and password values are not visible after hitting the URL set. Sometimes what will happen whenever you will click on username and password in the URL, username is equal to password is equal to these values, it will be displayed. Okay, but it should not be displayed. So make sure that is not visible. And after resetting your password, we can check new credentials and ensure old credentials should not work, because sometimes you change your Gmail password. So you might have to test with the new credentials is working or not, and old credentials should not work. So you have to test it as a login page on the login page. And new and existing credentials database pointed to new data. Suppose previously my application user login details, everything was saved in my Oracle database table. Username, password, and for this, all these details, it was saved in a Oracle database. Now, username and password details are saving instead of Oracle, they are using MySQL. Okay, MySQL database. So in that case, when the backend database functionality was changed, we have to test new and existing credentials. Database pointed to new means when it is got migrated to some other database also. So we have to test with the existing credentials able to log in or not, and with new credentials only it's accepting. So we have to test if the database point is backend also changed. And valid username and valid password and press enter. Sometimes we will press only enter. Some people they will do after username enter they will do enter button. Some people they will do click on login button. What is the point? So sorry, enter button is not working. I haven't tested. They won't accept these things. Client's point of view, they have to test because the tab focus is going perfectly or not. So press login button. Verify two different sessions user roles at a time. Suppose the login application contains manager login and another session you open admin user login. So whether system is allowing or not different credentials at a time or not, we have to test it. Verify remember checkbox last login. If it is there, remember last it has to credentials has to save. Otherwise, it should not supposed to save. So we have to test this one as well. Verify login validations on different browser combinations. Chrome browser, Edge browser, Firefox browser, we have to test it. Verify login on mobile devices, tablets, and different operating systems. Different operating systems means all we are using Android operating system. If it is Apple, what is the operating system? Mac, iOS operating system, we have to test it. So how the login credentials are working, because the application is same. We can access from mobile, we can access from tablet, we can access from desktop, we can access from web applications. So you have to test it whether login is correctly working. And verify username and field validations means if there is any field validations, length or within this range, it has to allow all these things. Verify users should be able to log in same credentials in different browsers at the same time. So you logged in Edge browser, Chrome browser, Firefox browser. So the user is already logged in, such kind of things it should not allow. Okay. So if you are logging in different browser combinations, it should allow. Verify credentials incognito mode. System should clear history automatically. So what is this meaning? Anybody knows what is incognito mode? What is incognito mode? Okay, let me show you. So you can open a Chrome. So here the Chrome is there. So here the Chrome browser, generally what you will do HDFC Bank and you are doing, right? HDFC Bank transactions you are doing, HDFC net banking you are doing. Okay. And you clicked on so your net banking transactions, you navigated to this login page. So you enter your username and password, it will be navigated to home page. But if you want to do these things banking related, you can open the browser in an incognito mode. So here incognito mode means this one, incognito. So the browser window, it will be opened like this. See, you have gone to incognito mode. So let's open net banking, HDFC net banking. So if you log in the application in an incognito mode, okay. So the moment when you close the browser, automatically logout will be done automatically. So whatever information that you have entered on different text fields also, that information it won't be saved at all. So the application could not be hacked by some hackers. Some of the people they cannot able to access it. So secure browsing, okay, the history information it could not be saved on the browser side. So username, password, the moment when you close the complete history, what are the websites you have visited, such information it won't be saved on the browser side. Okay, so if you want to access any of the banking related applications, okay, you can check access the application in an incognito mode. So we have to test it username and password in incognito mode, and is the history is clearing automatically or not, we have to test it. So verify tab sequence in web, mobile and tablets. So the moment when you click on tab, it has to work properly. Mobile devices, web devices, tablets, all those things. Unsuccessful login credentials should be blocked. So you tried with same user ID and password, but you are giving one capital letter or small letter combination. You tried consecutively 3 times. What will happen fourth time? Your account got blocked. So you can reach out to administrator. So is it coming or not? So unsuccessful login credentials should be blocked after certain consecutive attempts. So you have to test this combination as well. Login session timeout duration. So what is the, suppose you haven't interacted with the login page. You haven't interacted with the login page. So what is the default timeout the application is doing automatically? So you haven't touched any of the banking applications once you logged in. So after 2 minutes, after 3 minutes, the session will be signed out and it will be navigated back to login page. So whatever operations that you are clicking on any of the page, it will be back to login page itself. That means you have to re-log in. So if you are not touching the screen continuously, it will be stopped. So why I have given these combinations is Gmail login page. If you are telling these 22 points, okay, the interview will be surprised. Nobody will tell 22 points. I prepared this document with my experience. Okay, if any people are asking first 4 combinations only, people will tell. If you are telling only first 4 combinations, you have learned training in American. Okay, if you are telling all these combinations, you have trained at my place. That's it. That is the difference. Okay, so you have to tell all these combinations for a login page. So first 4 combinations are based on what kind of technique? Decision table based test. Where is that? Decision table based testing means is also known as cause effect table. So whenever your application is contains some form field validations, we can use this kind of decision table based testing technique. So for various inputs, what is the output? For various input combinations, what is the output? So whatever system is expecting, anybody can test. System should not supposed to work like this with these combinations. You have to, as a tester, you have to write those combination of testers. Tester intention is always you have to think negatively. Your objective is to break the system. Okay, then only you can able to write maximum combination of test cases. Now let's come back to the next one is state model diagram. State model diagram. So here, let's see what is this one. We can identify and write the functional paths based on state model diagram. So this is one state model diagram, guys. This is one state model diagram. So the interview is asking, can you please write some test cases for this workflow diagram? State model diagram, we can also call it as a workflow diagram. So what are the combination of test cases that we can write? Can anybody tell me? What are the first combinations we can write for this workflow diagram? General thinking. I am a customer. So what is the first test case I have to test it? I have to open an account. So if I will open the account, what is the account status? New. So when I open the account, verify the account status is new. If it is not new, it's an issue as per the workflow diagram. So that is the first test case. Okay, what is the second test case I can write? When I place the order, when I place an order, what is the account status? It has to be done active. Okay, so I have written second test case. Now tell me what is the third test case? So this combination we have to write it right active to this one.
Yes.
So if there is some outstanding amount, okay. So let's block this account. So let's freeze this account. So the account status it's go to frozen state. So the transactions like mobile numbers you won't get incoming and outgoing calls similarly like that. So when there is debt, okay. So the account status it will when the account is on credit hold, so it will go into frozen state. What is the after frozen? What is the thing? So active to frozen we have written the test. Next. Frozen to active also we have to write. When account balance was cleared, the balance was cleared. Again, the account status it has to become active, frozen to active. So we have covered this one. What else I can write as per the diagram? Active to closed. So this one, when campus bikes closes the account, okay. So whenever it has been closed, so it has to come this status. And when the customer wants to close the account, okay, customer intentionally they want to close the account. So from active to close. So how many test cases we have identified from this workflow diagram? First one opens an account. From new to active, second test case, and active to frozen, frozen to active, active to close. How many test cases? 2 test cases. So total how many test cases we identified? 6 test cases. So make sure that you are covering all these combination of test cases. So for a workflow diagram, okay, you have to write the test cases for these combinations. So when open new to active, active to frozen, and frozen to active, and active to campus bikes closes the account, and active to when customer closes the account. So there are 6 combination of test cases. Okay, right.
Sir, customer close the account means, sir?
Means I don't want to continue the services. Customer came and he is asking, so he wants to close his account. Okay, understood everyone? Can we go some more other example? Okay. So, okay, I think there is no proper diagrams. So you have to make sure that you are covering every functional path. Okay, you have to cover every functional path. So from which to, so sometimes So you have to ensure that you are covering every functional flow path. So here with these 6 combinations, we are traversing from every path to another path. So what are the minimum number of paths we have identified? Total 6 paths. Okay. So like that, we have to make sure state model diagram. And error guessing. Error guessing is one of the technique while writing the test cases. Okay. Error guessing means it is a software testing technique based on guessing the error which can be privileged in the code. The technique is heavily based on the experience where the test analysts use their experience to guess the problematic part of the testing application. So based on your pure experience, it's completely your own experience. So you have to write the test cases. So see here, the test should use previous experience of the testing similar applications. Previously worked on similar applications, might be this kind of issue it might come. So let's write this combination of test case. And understanding of the system under test. So while doing the testing, you encountered, okay, let's add this test case as well. And knowledge of typical implementation errors. So sometimes you want to enter the values. So you have to enter minus values. You have to check roundup values. You have to check if you are entering null, null. So if the system is prompting null pointer exception. So based on your experience, what kind of input value and how the system is behaving based on your experience. So if you are giving different input combinations, how the system is behaving. Remember previously troubled areas. So you have already worked on this application. So you encountered partially with this kind of similar issues. Okay, in some calculations part you came across. So let's add those combination of test cases. Evaluate historical data and test results. So you can recheck the previous test cases and write some more new test cases. So it's based error guessing means these are the 5 things you have to remember. So what are the previous functionalities? How the system is working. So all those things you have to revisit. Okay. So these are the 5 testing techniques we will use to identify the test cases. Okay. I had given a BRD document, business requirement document. You should not supposed to come and ask me, sir, I am not able to get the ideas for this single line, how many number of test cases. You have to think whether it is boundary value analysis, whether it is equivalence class partitioning, whether it comes under decision table based testing, or whether it comes state model diagram, or whether it comes under kind of error guessing technique. Okay, so by using these testing techniques for a requirement statement, you have to write at least 5 to 6 or 10 combination of test cases. If you are testing only valid test case, you are not a tester. How my system should supposed to work, I can tell. How the system should not behave, you have to test it. That's why the clients are paying amounts to testers. Okay, so by using these testing techniques for a requirement, we can identify more number of test cases. So if you are writing more combination of test cases, we will get confidence on the build. Okay, right. So these are the testing techniques we will use while preparing test scenarios. When you get the requirement, what is the first activity? Test scenario preparation. Test scenario ID, test scenario objective, test case ID, and test case object. So you have to make sure for a given requirement, all these testing techniques you are using properly or not. Okay, now let's go to the next thing. So in the interview, people will ask a question, what is the difference between test scenario and test case? Test scenario means identifying the high level functional flows for the given requirement. What is the at high level, what is the functionality it should supposed to work? A test scenario can contain combination of test cases and test objectives to cover all high level functional flow. Simply test scenario describes what's supposed to be tested at high level. And test scenario gives high level idea of what we need to test for a given requirement. And whereas a test case can contain set of steps, and every step can contain description and the expected results to achieve particular test objective. Okay, the test case template can contain fields as test case ID, test objective, prerequisite, step number, description, expert. So whenever the interview is asking about what is the difference between test scenario and test case, you have to give this explanation. Okay, so by default people are asking. Okay, now let's come back to testing. Before closing testing techniques class for today, so interview, what kind of questions people are asking? Okay, just 3 days back I had encountered a questions. Okay, and with my experience, what kind of questions I faced, I will tell. So during when I went to Tech Mahindra interview, the interview guy is asking, 55 years old guy. He's asking, can you please write some test cases on pen? He's asking. And recently, just 3 days back, one guy is asking, can you please write a test cases on coffee cup? So they might ask any of the object. It could be pen, coffee cup, whatever. They might ask they might give any of the object. Okay. So if it is pen, what combination of test cases that we can write?
So the pen size dimension.
First, you have to think the purpose of pen.
So what is the
Maybe-
dimension?
See, now you went to a shop. కలర్ బాగుందా, అది బాగుందా, ఇది బాగుందా అని సరే అసలు ఫస్ట్ ఏం టెస్ట్ చేస్తారు? పెన్ను తీసుకుని ఫస్ట్ రాస్తారు కదా. ఫస్ట్ జాబ్ ఇచ్చాం అది యూ హ్యావ్ టు. వెన్ ఎవర్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ ఇస్ ఆస్కింగ్ అబౌట్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్, యూ హ్యావ్ టు టెల్ ద ప్రైమరీ ఫంక్షన్. ఓకే, పెన్ వాట్ ఇస్ ద పర్పస్? ఏబుల్ టు రైట్ ఇట్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు రైట్. మనం రాయగలుగుతున్నామా లేదా? నెక్స్ట్ ఇంకేం చేయదు.
Whether it's a ballpoint pen or gel pen, the type of a pen. Yeah, we can check.
నేను అడుగుతుంది వాట్ ఆర్ ద ఫంక్షన్స్, వాట్ ఆర్ ద, ఐ హ్యాడ్ గివెన్ ఎ పెన్, వాట్ యూ విల్ టెస్ట్ ఇట్, వాట్ ఇట్ రాస్తుందా లేదా ఒక్కటి చెప్పేసి ఇది పెన్ అని చెప్పేస్తామా?
Color of the pen, ink.
చెప్పండి.
Comfort to hold.
ఎస్, ఎవరు చెప్పారు?
Comfort to hold.
కంఫర్ట్ టు హోల్డ్ అంటే ఫస్ట్ అదే కదా మనం చెక్ చేసుకునేది. నెక్స్ట్ ఈజీగా రాయగలుగుతున్నానా లేదా? ఈజీ టు యూజ్ అని పెడదాం. రైట్, సింపుల్ గా ఈజీ టు యూజ్. ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు నేను బాయ్స్ షాప్కి వెళ్ళాడు, అది పర్పుల్ కలర్ లో ఉందనుకోండి, కొంటారా? కొనరు. పింక్ కలర్ లో ఉన్నా కొనరు. వాళ్ళకి ఏంటంటే బ్లాక్ అండ్ వైట్, బ్లూ అట్లా ఉంటారు. అంటే లుక్ అండ్ ఫీల్ ఆఫ్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఎలా ఉంది. యూ హ్యావ్
user throw pen.
look and feel, is it use and throw kind of pen, and how many days it can, how many days duration. Okay, మనం చెప్పాలి దీన్ని డ్యూరబిలిటీ అంటారు చెప్పాలి, అంతే కదా, డ్యూరేషన్.
But the durability depends on us, na, how we are writing, like for how many days you are writing.
డ్యూరబిలిటీ అనే కన్నా దీని ఏమనాలి, ఒక నిమిషం, లైఫ్ టైం అంటే ఈజ్ ఇట్ యూజ్ అండ్ త్రూ అన్నాము, లైఫ్ టైం అంటే ఎంత కాలం, హౌ లాంగ్ ఇట్ కెన్. సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ యూ ఆర్ బయింగ్ ఏ పెన్, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ కమ్స్ ఫర్ 2 days యూ వోంట్ బై ఇట్. ఇఫ్ ద పెన్ కమ్స్ ఫర్ అట్లీస్ట్ ఫర్ 1 month యూ విల్. సో దీని ఏమంటారు, స్పాన్ ఆఫ్ టైం అంటుంది, లైఫ్ స్పాన్. దాని లైఫ్ స్పాన్ ఎంత ఉందనేది గెస్ చేసుకుని అది వన్ ఆఫ్ ద అట్రిబ్యూట్ చెక్ చేస్తాం పెన్ ఇచ్చింది. ఓకే, మ్యాక్సిమం రాసి దాన్ని టెస్ట్ చేస్తాం. ఇంకా ఇంకేం చెక్ చేయొచ్చు పెన్నుని. సో మీరు
Able
Verify
to write
pen
smoothly
ink.
or not.
Pen ink.
సెక్యూరిటీ అంటే సో క్యాప్ ఉందా లేదా, అది ఇన్ కేస్
Smooth గా రాస్తుందా లేదా అని కూడా చూస్తాం.
Clickable or not.
సో సెక్యూరిటీ అంటే కింద పడినప్పుడు షుడ్ నాట్ బ్రో, అటువంటివి కూడా. ఓకేనా? సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు టెస్ట్ ఆల్ దీస్ కాంబినేషన్. వెన్ ఐ హ్యాడ్ గివెన్ ఓకే కప్, కాఫీ కప్ దీని మీద అడిగాడు నన్ను ఇంటర్వ్యూలో అడిగాడు. ఏం చెప్పాలి? కాఫీ కప్ able to drink easily. ఇంకా కాఫీ కప్ నేను ఇంతదే ఇచ్చాను అనుకో మీరు కొంటారా? కొనరు కదా. క్వాంటిటీ చెక్ చేస్తారు. క్వాంటిటీ ఎంత సపోర్ట్ చేస్తుంది, హౌ మచ్ క్వాంటిటీ డస్ ఇట్ సపోర్ట్స్. ఇంకోటి అది చాలా డెలికేట్ గా ఉందంటే మీరు కొంటారా? కొనరు. సో హౌ మచ్ థిక్నెస్ అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఏంటి, హౌ మచ్ హీట్ డస్ ఇట్ కెన్ బేర్, అంతే కదా. హీట్ హౌ మచ్ అనేది కూడా చెక్ చేస్తాం. ఇంకా సో ఈ విధంగా మీరు ఏంటంటే ఈ కాంబినేషన్ ఆఫ్ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ మేము రాస్తాము కాఫీ కప్ మీద. సో
ఇంగ్లీష్ సార్,
చెప్పండి.
ఇంగ్లీష్ సార్.
Oh, okay. So you have to think combination of if an objective had been given. Okay. So generally you can think these aspects and same aspects whether we can applicable here or not. You can have to think. So able to write comfort to hold, look and feel. So look and feel is also comes.
Grip of the coffee cup. Grip, whether the grip of the
Grip, how the grip is to hold. Okay.
Type of material.
Huh?
easily
Type of material of coffee cup is
Material
easily washable or not.
easily
Washable or not.
easily washable or not, correct. Okay, so like that you have to
Color of the cup, sir.
yeah, look and feel means color of the cup. Okay, so these aspects we can test. So because the interviewer is not asking Gmail login application, now they changed the interview style. They are asking some object. Can you please write some test case and change there, my class? So the interviewer is asking particularly about lift. Nowadays, most of the interviews they are asking lift. Tell me some test case on lift.
able to open the door.
Huh?
Able to
Security ante security and explain చేయాలి.
able to open the door.
Able to open that door, it's a function. Okay, able to open that door. That is the main functionality.
Dimension.
Dimension is the main functionality.
How many person can it hold? Like
Capacity.
how many persons can it fit into one lift? Like 6 people, 8 people.
That's
So I
right.
have to press each and every button and whether it is stopping in at every stop or not. That is the first functionality I can test. I can press all the buttons and is it stopping at every stop? That is the main function of the lift. And what else?
Weight of the people, sir. How many weight it can hold?
How much weight does it hold?
Capacity of the
How much
Capacity.
weight does it? Okay, if I am giving beyond the limit, the system it has to beyond the limit, so the system has to give some warning. What else?
and how much
It's a
time it is taking.
automatic or manual one. Like the doors will open automatically, or it's a manual. You have to open it by yourself.
Manually or automatically it's opening. Okay, what else?
Like how much time it is taking to reach the ground floor. Like each floor, how much time it is taking. So like we can verify that.
Time, how much time does it is
Yeah,
take? If it is taking 20 minutes for 5 floors, will anybody will prefer?
No.
Nobody will prefer. So you have to test performance. And what else?
Operation button.
Emergency button is working or not?
So the floor combination, like suppose we
If
are at
it
second
is
floor.
properly working or not?
No,
Okay.
sir, suppose we are at second floor. Someone
Ah.
press the ground floor. Then it first came to the ground floor. Then again you to go to the third floor. Like floor combinations, sir.
Yeah, floor combinations we can test it. When the power is gone suddenly while it is running, whether we need to test it or not.
Yes, sir.
That is the main function. That is the main security aspect only. People will worry, right? So if you are not testing that functionality, there is no point. So while lift is running, power it will go on suddenly. Okay, how the system it is working? It has to come automatically to ground floor. Is it working or not? We have to test it. Default it has to come to ground floor. Okay, that is the main function. Okay, so you have to test. You have to think and you have to tell all these combinations. Okay, and people are asking on e-commerce application. Can you please write some 10 test cases on e-commerce application? Sales, you are booking an order, right? Can you please tell me some test cases while booking an Amazon order? Tell me now. You can tell me because everybody is busy in booking the orders, right? Tell me. I want to test an e-commerce application. Can you please tell me some 5 negative test cases? The interviewer is asking. 5 negative test cases and 5 positive test cases. Now, what is 5 positive test cases? So the moment when they will ask, you won't get thoughts. You have to tell the answer spontaneously. Okay. Okay. Tomorrow you can tell me. Okay. So that's what so that's it for today's session. So we can come with different topic by tomorrow.